There is a strange moment in life when you suddenly realize that you have been present for your days, but absent from your own life. You wake up, check your phone, answer a few messages, scroll through things you will probably forget tomorrow, and tell yourself you will focus after that. Then the day gets busy. You have work to finish, things to learn, responsibilities to handle, problems to solve, and before you realize it, another evening has arrived. You promise yourself that tomorrow will be different. Tomorrow you will finally start. Tomorrow you will become disciplined. Tomorrow you will work on that dream you have been carrying for years. But tomorrow keeps arriving with the same promise and leaving with the same excuses. Maybe you have goals you haven't touched in months. Maybe there is a skill you keep saying you will learn. Maybe there is a business idea sitting inside your head while you spend your best hours consuming someone else's life online. Maybe you keep waiting for confidence before taking action. Or maybe you are so busy trying to figure out the perfect path that you have forgotten that walking is what creates the path. And here's the part nobody likes to think about. You can waste years without ever feeling like you wasted a single day. Because wasted time doesn't always look like doing nothing. Sometimes it looks like planning. Sometimes it looks like overthinking. Sometimes it looks like being endlessly busy. Sometimes it looks like waiting for the perfect moment. And sometimes it looks exactly like your normal life. My name is Wali, and welcome back to the channel. Here we share powerful stories, life lessons, and ideas that can help you become stronger, wiser, and more intentional with your life. And today's story is about a young man named Henry. But this isn't a story about someone who wasted his life by doing nothing. It's about someone who wasted his life by constantly preparing to live it. Henry was 26 years old and had one strange habit. He was always getting ready. If he wanted to start running, he would spend 2 weeks researching running shoes. If he wanted to learn photography, he would watch dozens of tutorials before taking a single picture. When he wanted to start a small business, he would create plans, spreadsheets, budgets, logos, names, and strategies. He was extremely good at preparing, but terrible at beginning. His room was filled with notebooks. One notebook said, "Things I will do this year." Another said, "My 5-year plan." Another said, "Ideas for my future." And on the wall was a calendar with important dates circled in red. The strange thing was that almost nothing on those calendars ever happened. One evening, Henry received a message from his old friend Peter. "Are you coming tonight?" Henry looked at the message. It was a small gathering. People he had not seen in months were meeting at an old cafe near the river. He wanted to go, but then he looked at his unfinished work. "I'll go next time," he thought. He put his phone down. That night, he spent 3 hours watching videos about productivity. He went to bed feeling productive, but he had produced nothing. The next morning, something unusual happened. On his way to work, Henry noticed an old shop he had passed hundreds of times. There was a sign above the door. "Time repaired here." He stopped. He had never noticed it before. Inside the shop sat an old man named Mark. The walls were covered with clocks, big clocks, small clocks, broken clocks, pocket watches, old watches with cracked glass. Some were running, some had stopped, and some had no hands at all. Mark looked up. "You're late," he said. Henry laughed. "I've never been here before." Mark smiled. "That's why you are late." Henry thought the old man was strange. He turned to leave. Then he noticed something on the counter. It was a beautiful silver pocket watch. "What's that?" Mark picked it up. "Someone brought this to me 20 years ago." "Is it broken?" "No." "Then why is it here?" Mark looked at him. "Because the owner never decided what to do with it." Henry frowned. "That doesn't make sense." "It will." Mark opened the watch. The second hand was moving. Tick, tick, tick. "Most people think wasting time means doing something useless," Mark said. "But that is only one kind of waste." He placed the watch on the counter. "The more dangerous kind is spending your time preparing for a life you never actually live." Henry became uncomfortable. He looked around the shop. "What do you mean?" Mark pointed toward the clocks. "Every clock here stopped for a different reason. Some were damaged. Some were forgotten. Some were never repaired because their owners kept saying they would come back tomorrow." Henry stared at him. "And what happened to those owners?" Mark smiled. "Tomorrow happened." That sentence stayed in Henry's head all day. That evening, Henry opened his notebook. At the top of the page, he had written, "Things I will start soon." He looked at the list. Learn photography, start exercising, call dad, travel somewhere alone, build a business, write something, spend more time with friends. He had written the list 8 months ago. Almost nothing had changed. Then he noticed something. Beside every goal, he had written a condition. "I'll start when I have more money. I'll start when I have more time. I'll start when I understand everything. I'll start when I feel confident. I'll start when life becomes easier." Henry suddenly understood something terrifying. He wasn't waiting for the right time. He was using the idea of the right time to avoid the fear of starting. The next morning, he returned to Mark's shop. "I want the watch," Henry said. Mark handed him the silver pocket watch. "How much?" Mark shook his head. "It isn't for sale." "Then why did you give it to me?" "Because you need to understand something." Mark opened the back of the watch. Inside was a tiny inscription. Henry read it. "Time does not ask what you planned." He looked up. Mark continued. "You think you are saving your life for later, but later is not a storage room." Henry stayed silent. Then Mark asked him a question. "If you knew you had exactly 1 year left, what would you stop postponing?" Henry didn't answer. Because the answer came immediately. He would call his folder more. He would see his friends. He would start creating instead of endlessly preparing. He would travel. He would take care of his body. He would stop worrying about looking foolish. He would finally do the things he kept telling himself he would do someday. Mark nodded. "Then why are you waiting?" Henry looked at the clock. "I don't know." Mark smiled. "That is the most expensive answer people give." From that day, Henry changed his approach. Not dramatically. He didn't quit his job. He didn't become rich overnight. He didn't wake up at 5 in the morning and become a completely different person. Instead, he started doing something much harder. He stopped negotiating with himself. If he wanted to exercise, he exercised for 20 minutes. If he wanted to write, he wrote 1 page. If he wanted to learn, he learned instead of collecting tutorials. If he wanted to call someone, he called. If he had an idea, he gave it a small beginning. His first photography project was terrible. His first business idea failed. His first month of exercise was inconsistent. His first attempt at writing was embarrassing. But for the first time, Henry was failing at things he actually wanted to accomplish. And strangely, those failures felt better than his old success at planning. Months passed. Then one afternoon, Henry received a call. It was from his father. "Can you come home this weekend?" Henry almost said, "I'm busy." That was his usual answer. Instead, he said, "Yes." He drove home. They spent the afternoon sitting outside, talking about things they had never talked about. At sunset, his father looked at him and said, "You seem different." Henry smiled. "I finally realized I don't have unlimited time." His father laughed. "None of us do." That night, Henry opened the silver pocket watch. Something was wrong. The second hand had stopped. He panicked. The next morning, he took it back to Mark's shop. But the shop was gone. The sign was gone. The windows were covered with dust. There was no clock shop, no Mark, nothing. Henry asked the shopkeeper next door, "Do you know what happened to the old man who owned this place?" The man looked confused. "There hasn't been a clock shop here for years." Henry stared at him. "That can't be right." The man shook his head. "It used to be a storage room." Henry looked at the pocket watch in his hand. He opened the back again. The inscription was still there. "Time does not ask what you planned." But underneath it, he noticed something he had never seen before. A second line. "Use what remains." Henry finally understood. Maybe Mark had been real. Maybe he hadn't. Maybe the shop had been nothing more than a strange moment in his life. But that didn't matter anymore, because the message was real, and Henry carried it with him. Years later, Henry became successful. Not because he became the smartest person in the room, not because he discovered some secret formula. He became successful because he learned to stop treating his life like a rehearsal. And whenever someone asked him what changed everything for him, he would tell them, "I stopped waiting to become ready." Because here is the truth. You will never feel completely ready. You will never have perfect confidence. You will never have unlimited money. You will never have unlimited time. And you will never eliminate uncertainty. If you keep waiting until everything feels perfect, you may spend your entire life standing at the starting line. There is another lesson hidden inside Henry's story. Wasting your life does not always look like lying in bed all day. Sometimes it looks like being busy. Sometimes it looks like planning. Sometimes it looks like learning. Sometimes it even looks like working hard. You can spend 10 years preparing for something and still never do it. Preparation is valuable only when it eventually becomes action. Knowledge is valuable when you use it. Dreams are valuable when you pursue them. Time is valuable because it cannot be returned. And perhaps the biggest mistake people make is thinking they have to change their entire life tomorrow. You don't. You just need to stop wasting today. Make the call, start the project, take the first step, apologize, learn the skill, go outside, create something, spend time with the people you love, take your goals seriously. And if you fail, fail while moving forward. Because one day, you may look back and realize that the days you thought were ordinary were actually the most valuable days of your life.
Personally, this story taught me something very simple but very uncomfortable. Sometimes we don't waste time because we don't know what to do. We waste it because we know exactly what we should do, but we keep postponing it. And I think almost everyone has something in their life that they keep saying, "I will do it later." For me, the lesson is to stop treating time like something I can always get more of. Because money can come back, opportunities can sometimes come back, even mistakes can sometimes be fixed, but yesterday cannot be recovered. And I want you to take one thing from this story today. Don't try to fix your entire life tonight. Just ask yourself one question. What is the one thing I keep postponing that I already know I should start? Then don't make another plan about it. Take one real step. Because your future is not built by what you intend to do. It is built by what you actually do with the time you have. And if this story made you think about your own life, then I want you to remember something. You don't need more time. You need to stop giving away the time you already have. If you enjoyed today's story and learned something valuable from it, please subscribe to the channel. Every story you watch here takes a lot of time, hard work, writing, editing, and effort to create. So if you feel that this story gave you something worth carrying into your life, support this channel by subscribing and sharing this video with someone who needs to hear this message. And there is one more reason I am asking you to do it. We have just achieved another huge milestone. We have completed 50,000 subscribers on this channel. That achievement isn't mine alone. It belongs to everyone who watched, liked, and commented, shared, and supported these stories. Now let's not stop here. Let's take the journey toward 100,000 subscribers together. Show me the same love and support, and let's see how quickly we can reach that next milestone. And if you have not watched my previous story yet, make sure you check out Fear Less, Live More. Because sometimes the life you want is waiting on the other side of the fear you have been protecting yourself from. Thank you for watching, and remember, your life is happening right now. Not tomorrow, not someday, right now. So don't just plan to live. Live.